everyone, this is Nikki Rowland with a new layout using the Simple Vintage Life in Bloom collection by Simple Stories. Now I'm a little bit, I have fallen quite behind with my videos, so I made this layout a little while ago and I'm only just getting around now to sorting out the video voiceover, but it's already been released on Simple Stories and I just haven't released anything on my channel for a little while because life's been a little bit crazy, just trying to do a bit less because I have so many other things to do at the moment. For some reason, I'm in demand. Okay, so I'm using this fabulous Life in Bloom collection by Simple Stories, a new designer for Simple Vintage, and it's just stunning, this layout, absolutely stunning. So I started off with that amazing paper and I fussy cut all the flowers from there, and my plan is to create a layout, a centralized layout with this one photo and lots of flowers. And I also decided to crack out my Distress Oxides, which is not something I do that often, and create a bit of a glow around the central circle. So you can see that I had arranged my flowers onto my page. I then used my pencil just to create some marks roughly where it was, and now I'm using that pencil mark as a guide to just add some colour behind where the photos and the photo and the flowers will go. Yeah, just using those ink applicator tools to apply and blend those inks together, and you can see where I got really dark a bit, so I tend to rub them off a bit in the middle of the layout where it won't be seen, and I wanted to really blend the colours all together. There we go. It looks lovely, doesn't it? It looks really pretty. It doesn't look very good when it's got nothing on top of it, but it comes into its own when you layer stuff on top, and it creates this kind of glow. So I just needed to I'll just keep working on it, keep offering up the flowers and the photo, making sure it all looks okay, and then I'm just going to continually keep blending, adding more colour where I feel that I need it, and keep working it all together until I'm happy, which I'm pretty much happy there. And I'm just going to get all my flowers in place and stuck down. Now I'm looking at the chipboard clusters. They're usually one of my favourite things to use. I'm pulling out the pack of those and seeing what ones I can use on this layout as well. So getting those 3 big flowers in place first of all, and just sticking those straight down with my tape gun, and then I'm going to add lots of things on top of what I've got as my base. So one of the chipboard clusters, the camera, is going to go to the left of my photo, and then I'm going to continually add other bits and pieces, so chipboard and ephemera and page pieces, until I'm happy with how it's looking. Love that word beautiful. I can't ever stand putting the word beautiful against a photo of me. However, my daughter's in the picture as well, so I'm justifying that in that way. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to raise that on foam pad so it has some good dimension. I took off the chipboard cluster because I wasn't too sure about how large it was, so I've replaced it with a smaller camera I think it's from the page pieces, and then adding lots of little bits. I've got little hearts, they're just ephemera pieces too, so I'm just adding those, and I will raise them all on foam pads as well, of course, and then I've got the butterflies. I didn't like the hearts have come off. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm happy with the shape, and that's what this is about. I'm just moving things around, trying different positions, trying things out here and there, until I'm happy with how everything is looking, tucking in more bits. And of course, the more and more that I add to this layout, the less and less of the glow behind the flowers you can see. But I find that that's the way it goes with mixed media, and say mixed media for me often is better subtle rather than a main feature. I'm not good enough at it to make it a main feature, so therefore I find that it's better for me in the background and subtle. So definitely got that here. It is there, you can see it just about. It does form a base, but it's definitely not the main feature. The flowers are beautiful flowers. Okay, so skip forward slightly. Everything is now stuck in place, and I'm feeling that my layout needs a border. I really do love having a border, and I just couldn't resist using the gingham paper from the Simple Vintage gingham paper pack. I'm sure it has a better name than that. I'm just not sure I can remember it. And I've taken the pink one. I love the gingham. I really love gingham. So I've taken the pink one and I've taken the middle out, and I'm going to add my layout to the gingham, giving it a border on 2 sides. So I'm going to offset it slightly and trim it down. So you can see that I'm just distressing the edges of those 2 that are going to be on show, adding tape to this layout. There we go. I'm just trying to make sure that I get everything stuck down correctly. There we go. I'm going to get that stuck at an angle, and then I'm going to trim off the white parts that are overhanging. So I'm going to do that on my guillotine because I get a straighter edge that way. But there we go. So now and then I've got some adhesive showing through the back. So just covering that up a bit with my invisible tape, and that stops my layout sticking to my table or to any of my other layouts. So definitely worthwhile doing. Just distress the edges a little bit more there and folded them up. Happy with how that's looking. I did feel that it needed something, some colour in the background. I look at other people's layouts who have all white backgrounds and I think, oh, they look so beautiful. But when I come to make layouts, I just feel like I need colour. So that's why I quite often end up with a border. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the rub-ons. How gorgeous are these new rub-ons, new products for Simple Stories? I don't know if they ever did them years ago, but I haven't seen them for quite some time. It's fabulous. They are fabulous. They're beautiful and stunning, and they work really well. That's the important thing with rub-ons, isn't it? They need to work, because there's nothing more frustrating than rubbing and nothing's coming off. And I'm sure we've all been there with that. But these ones are fabulous, beautiful, work really well, transfer like a dream, and are just gorgeous. Another opportunity to add beautiful details. I think you can get so many more details with rub-ons as well. So yeah, just adding in some little hearts and flowers and bits and pieces there. So just adding all of those in there. What I do is I cut them out and then position them in place. I'm sure everyone does that anyway, but I cut them out of the backing, place them where I want them, rather than try to move the whole sheet and only rub where I need it. You always end up transferring another design by accident too when I do it that way. So yeah, just and then also that way I can move them around and make sure I'm happy with their positioning before I rub and therefore transfer. Okay, so I'm pretty much there. I'm nearly done. I'm happy with my transfers or my rub-ons. I've got my title in place. I'm pretty happy with how it's all looking. Just adding a doodled border around the edge of those two wonky edges, and adding a little bit of journaling and some black hearts, little tiny black doodle hearts around the edges of the layout. I love the drama of the pop of black on this layout. Not on this layout, but in this collection. I always really enjoy a collection like this with black in it. I just think it's so dramatic and has such a lovely effect. So I love it. So I'm going to enhance that with some black Indian ink that I've got there, just dropping those ink splats in various places. It doesn't splatter particularly well. It's because it's running out. I use it quite a bit. And also I find if I do a really big blob, then I need to wick it up a bit. Otherwise it can seep through and spread out, which I don't want. So there we go. That's my layout pretty much complete. All done now. I hope you enjoyed seeing this layout come together. I'm sorry that the video is so much later than it should have been. Better late than never, right? Yeah, I loved it. I loved the collection. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So check out Life in Bloom. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. That was Nikki Rowland for Simple Stories using Simple Vintage Life in Bloom.